Local?
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's out in Fishers. So
Okay, so local, but you got to do a little driving.
right, right.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, welcome everybody. Phil's not included. Forgive me. I'm gonna say I'm under the weather, so we've been out for a couple times. But I decided, fuck it, we got to get back to it. So, how you been, fam? You been good?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm hoping you get back where you need to get 100%.
Man, I need to, bro. I've been missing that gym. I've been doing slow folk cardio and shit. You know what I'm saying? Walking on the treadmill like shit 2.5. I'm like, I ain't missing it. I'm going. I ain't doing shit
Yeah,
though.
hey, slow motion beats no motion.
Man, no doubt. So, we're gonna talk about the kind of the videos going around with the German chick, right? How she been talking. You know, she was talking about what an average black man when she met him, what he wasn't used to. You know what I'm saying? Scheduled breakfast, scheduled lunch, scheduled dinner. You know, a woman being quiet when he talked. Just her doing all the typical traditional woman shit and being not what the average black man is used to. Now,
Hmm.
she didn't really say black women. I don't think she said that in any of her statements. I listened to them a couple times. Right, a lot of black women responded, but she never said black women. She said the women he was used to. We can make the assumption on what he used to date, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna jump over and we're gonna get one of the responses, and then we're gonna talk about, you know what I'm saying, what we're gonna talk about what she said and what we think.
Okay.
But
That German lady got on this here internet and said that she found an average black man that she introduced femininity and care and nurture to because he had never seen it. And he picked her over what he was used to dealing with. And then she went on to say this.
Black American family has barely a family unit. You know, there is no breakfast, lunch, and dinner at set times. And these are things that I introduced my husband to.
And after she said that, she goes on to say that black women need to just accept that they're going to end up being by themselves because black men are tired of dealing with the loud mouth, the attitude, no care, no love, no nurturing, no family unit. And after listening to everything, baby, she right. She didn't tell not a lie. A lot of us were not raised in households where we seen wives be able to be wives because they had husbands that were being husbands. A lot of us grew up in environments where there were no black male role models. There were no fathers, grandfathers, uncles. So we don't know what the leadership of a man looks like. A lot of us grew up in environments where our mothers were literally operating in survival mode. So they weren't worried about teaching us how to cook and clean and be feminine. They were worried about making sure that the bills got paid and everybody was alive at the end of the day. But just because that's how we were raised, that does not mean that that's how we need to continue to exist. If you know that that behavior and that life didn't give your mother or your grandmother the results that they wanted, and it hasn't been giving you the results that you want, it's time for a change. Now, the family unit component is the truth. A lot of us today are still operating in survival mode. We're working long hours, working two jobs, trying to survive because it's just us. It's just me in the house. So I ain't got time to do breakfast. I ain't got time to do lunch, dinner. I'm running late. I'm doing this. And the reality is that's why I preach to people that we need to own businesses. We need to learn how to monetize our own natural gifts and talents. Because when you run your own business, you set your own rates and you set your own hours. So now you can be at home to set a family structure with your children. And when you get a husband, if you want one, with him as well. But when I tell y'all that is a fight. Men want to feel like men. So we need you to be men. And if these men are being like men and they're doing all the things that men need to do, what's wrong with us being women? I thought that's what we wanted. I thought we wanted to get into our soft girl era. So can we work on that and stop being mad when somebody else points it out?
all right, so we let her speak, right? It's been ugly on social media, right? But I'm impressed with a lot of women in general across the board that kind of agree with her. But I wanted to get your thoughts, right, on what we are used to as men, right? Because I listened to the German chick. I heard the first one. And I'm gonna keep it real, bro. I'm used to that shit. So for me, it was like it sound regular as hell. But I know a lot of men are like, nah, That's not what we're used to it. And she hit on some key points. I mean, we do what we see. A lot of us didn't see that growing up. But I want to let you speak on it.
Yeah, I think the most important aspect of what they were speaking to was the family component. Cause I was just sitting here thinking back, like, damn, when I look at because a lot of my aunts were married, and I had a couple uncles, but I don't remember them guiding the family healthily, right? I don't remember them being strong patriarchs. If I take it back before them, I don't remember a strong grand patriarch either. So I think with the lack of quality male leadership, when I look at it, it speaks volumes as to where we're at now. And I don't think that young girls are being trained to be wives, and they have not been for decades. Now I know the first direction that people want to go into is like nor our young males being trained to be husbands, right? But that's not. We got to pick a lane in terms of where the conversation is going to stay. And right now we're talking about young ladies into women. I can't say I disagree. Now we have to take into account that there had what the potential motivation for this the German lady, quote unquote, what her motivation for speaking to this was as as it being a provocative topic. But if we're just looking at the general consensus, I mean, I'm not in this space to play devil's advocate. I can't necessarily disagree. I mean, what is it to disagree with?
I think she did it for likes. Keep it real, right? And again, forgive me, I'm gonna be pausing and try to hold my coughs. She did it for likes, but I mean, there's not a lot of disagreement. The disagreement comes in when feelings get hurt, right? Because I saw her on TikTok, and I went through some of the comments. The very first comment I saw was, "You don't get to speak on us," right? Like that's a cop out.
Who was that directed to?
It was directed to the German lady,
Okay.
saying, "You don't get to speak on us."
Okay.
It was a cop out, but I mean, it's real shit.
Was there any reason why they were saying particularly why she doesn't get to speak on?
She's not black,
Okay.
and I can co-sign, and I've heard that shit when I said something on social media like, "Oh, you don't have a black wife, you don't get to speak on us." Like, the reality is reality, right? I can get mad at a white man for saying some shit that's true about so-called black folk, but if it's true, it's true, right? Him saying it doesn't change that fact, and I think you alluded to that before when you talked about racist things and shit like that. You're like, "Hey, listen, it's a little different," but like, he's gonna be who he is, right? And a lot of people are gonna be who they are regardless of who says something different. So, but it touched some souls, right? There's a lot of upset women. But I don't need to be a wife. I don't need to make 3 meals a day. Blah blah blah. And it's just weird to me, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I think we could let's talk about that. Like, why we think that a lot of women are so anti tradition as it relates to being wives. Like, why is it looked at as slavery these days?
I was just gonna say, bro. The comment, "I'm not a slave. I'm not a maid." It's because, and it's gonna sound fucked up. I think we are such a damaged people in this country that we need a tit for tat, right? I'm not doing something without getting something back. Ignoring the fact that if you do those things, you get a hell of a lot back. But it's the instant return, right? Like, a lot of folks, like, we can break it down to, and it's kind of fucked up. But when I was younger, even in the sexual days, chicks like, if I do that, you got to do this. Like, it's the wrong mentality, right? I think for us, a lot of women seeing or hearing themselves play that role, they think, well, all I'm doing is this, and I'm not getting nothing in return, right? And I think that's where the slave mentality or the slave comments and the maid comments come from.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because a lot of those women will go to work and do exactly what they're told.
You know what? Yeah, I hear a lot of men complain about this. You go to work and you do whatever he say, and you come home and talk shit to me.
Right. I mean, because if you're gonna be the person to assert your independence or whatever you want to call it, I mean, I can only respect it if it's consistent across the board. Yeah, I mean, and it works the same. Like, I can't respect a man that asserts his dominance in terms of being a man, but you only do that in your household. You don't
Right,
do
right.
that with your out in your everyday life. So I mean, we don't. And I just said that to avoid the deflection that's going to come.
You know it's coming.
Yeah, but the reality is, like, if you want to say that, you got to stand on it across the board. My question is, why is it? Why are you thinking? Why do you feel like a slave for serving your husband or potential life partner? I don't understand.
Because they've never seen it.
Okay, all right, okay.
I mean,
What
if
do
you
you,
think about every time the average woman that we know seen that kind of shit, it's in the movie. It's a servant. It's it's somebody playing a role, not typically a wife, but they see it in real life. You know what I'm saying? You just don't see that. We didn't have, most of us didn't grow up with set dinner times and set breakfast times and set lunch times outside of school and work.
Yeah, but it's like, but we subscribe to so many other constructs that we picked up in the media or just in tradition. So why do we pick the ones that contribute to or are necessary for a strong family dynamic as what we're going to just ignore? I mean, okay, so even the construct of chivalry. Like they don't abort that.
I,
That's
I
still
think
that's still an expectation, and that's tradition. I mean, it's a construct.
uh, I think because most women today in our culture will give up everything that a man wants to have in a wife long before she becomes anything more than just a friend. So there's nothing. She's done everything already without having, as far as giving him the world. So I think a lot of men, um, you don't have to, you don't have to put forth the effort of providing and doing these things to get access to her body, to get access to her womb, right? So I think it's just I want to call it like almost like a self defense mechanism. You know you're not gonna get it, right? You know you're not gonna get picked for that role, so you make that role sound bad, right? That's how I look at it, right? Like I used to be severely overweight, and when I was severely overweight, hey, this is cool. I don't mind. I don't mind. I'm good like this. That was a lie, but I said it to make me feel better about my situation instead of changing my situation. And I think that's the scenario, right? It looks bad because in order to play that role, you have to be a wife, and most of the time, by the time they get to a point where they want to be a wife, they're already a mother. Sometimes two, three times over by different people. I don't mean same cat.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I guess so. So you don't think that the women like the so-called German lady. You think that they have a different standard in terms of access for men prior to them being
Access to the womb, 100%. Right. So I have a sister who lives in Germany, been there for decades. I've been over there multiple times. Shit's totally different. I'm not saying you can't go out, kick it, meet a chick, have some fun, but you're not spitting out babies like that. It's you're not about to destroy their future, right, on some one night shit. And you have to meet a certain criteria. And there's always you're gonna have your bottom of the barrel, whoever, right? And that's no disrespect to nobody. But here in the US, you could take a motherfucker who has absolutely nothing and get access to a female doctor on a one night shit, knock her up. Right? I mean, it's crazy the number of chicks I know personally that had a baby after the age of 38 with a motherfucker that's nowhere to be found. And he wasn't going to be found from the jump. It wasn't like he pretended to want to marry her, right? He just smashed, bust, and dip, right? We still have concern for our long-term well-being, right? It's different for us.
yeah. So in essence is because uh, having illegitimate children has been normalized in culture because
For real.
it actually is used. Often leveraged as a accomplishment when women raise children, by themselves, quote unquote. Something interesting and kind of personal, but I don't mind mentioning it. And this with all due respect to her because she's dealing with something right now. But uh, I seen my son's mother, it was something regarding to her an announcement for her health, that she's dealing with, but one part of her story and that she referenced was grown being a single mother, what I mean. So it's like it was just interesting to me. I'm like, but I let her have it just because bless your heart, what I mean.
Nah, I feel you.
Uh,
But that's personal though, right? Like, I
yeah,
mean,
but it's like why is that? worn as a badge of honor. You know what I'm saying? Like even if we everybody has different perceptions of reality, but why is that? I think it's almost like being alone and struggling for a lot of so-called black women is something that they brag on. You know what I mean? That they welcome it, but then it's like you brag on it, but then you wear it as a badge of honor, but then you complain about it in another breath. Like it's just
Self-defense
weird.
mechanism,
It's
bro.
weird to me.
I'm going back to they don't. I mean, I've never seen one that loves it, right? I've seen them do it multiple times, but I've never seen one that's like, oh, I love being a single mom. It's the best shit ever. Never. I hear it, like you said, how hard it is, how difficult it is, how unfair it is. But if you, and again, this is American Western culture. We swear I'm gonna look for. We make things seem good that are bad to make us feel better about the situation. No person that brags about being a single parent goes home and is like, man, I'm so happy I'm a single parent. Nobody. I mean, it's a reality. But we have such a huge amount of people that do it that it's almost the norm. So they group together, right? The support. You see a Facebook post or TikTok or any other social media where chicks like, I'm a single mom, I'm doing it all. It's going to be a million women under there supporting her. There's going to be two that might be like, well,
Yeah.
girl, maybe you should slow down and find a man before you
I
just put it on the line.
I've saw it indirectly, but I've never seen a woman directly state to women who's saying something like that. I've never seen them respond in a way that holds them accountable. Never.
I've seen it once or twice. It's not common.
I would like. I've
It
never
ain't
seen
common.
it.
And she get her ass ripped apart, and that's why it
Right,
ain't common.
right. But as far as what even I mean we what we saw was a so-called black woman responding and agreeing with the lady in essence. So I don't think that it's much as much for us to say. I have to co-sign it. Like we know that exceptions don't make the rules, right? So we know that's irrelevant here. But based on my idea of what it looks like culturally, I even speak to my brother. His partner is of a different hue, and I didn't understand it initially, and we had a conversation about it, and that's essentially what he explained to me, is that it was much more peaceful. There was much more femininity. I mean, I've watched it myself. Like I let him explain it. But then once he pointed things out to me, I'm like, okay, I had different lenses on, right? So I'm just paying attention, just while I'm visiting, because I was visiting him in Arizona, and I'm just like, I get it.
It's different, bro.
I get, like I absolutely understand where you're coming from. What I had to do was not make the mistake of comparing that to my situation, right? Because it's not always to the fault of the individual, like as far as what they know, what they're used to. And there's a difference when a person, like, changing a behavior has everything to do with motivation. And like you can't really determine where a person's motivation comes from, but it's like you can tell the difference. A person doing something because it's their duty, or a person doing something because they feel honored to do, like they want to do it.
That's a difference, bro.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like that's a major, major difference, and I don't think people grasp there's a difference between, okay, I'm doing it because I have to do it, and I'm doing it because I want to do it for you. Right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
went to my brother's wedding a couple weeks ago. That's why I'm fucking sick right now. But I was sitting down with some of his homies, right? And I remember my brother saying to me one day, he said to me, he said, bro, I was sitting at your house. I think I was getting showered up. We were about to go out somewhere. He was sitting down talking to my wife. He said, what you watching? She's like, I watch whatever he want to watch. And my brother was like, what the fuck? Right? That little shit to me means nothing, right? But he was like, man, he told me, he said, man, bro, that's crazy. That your girl just, whatever you subscribe to. I'm like, well, it's not like she don't watch her own shit, right? But she's like, most of the time we sit down and watch some shit, she's more interested in the presence of me in the company versus what we're watching, right? So I just laughed it off, no big deal, right? That was some months ago, 6-8 months ago. I'm at my brother's wedding. Excuse me. I'm talking to one of his guys, and he said, man, your brother told me the one time he was at your house, he asked your wife what she was watching. She's like, whatever you want to watch. He's like, man, that's some shit I've never heard. I didn't realize that little shit like that makes a difference, right? Like I've gotten, I have parties that get together in my house and shit like that, and my closest homies, if you drink too much, you got to stay, right? It's better safe than sorry. But my wife will 3, 4, 4, 5 in the morning be up. She say, "Hey, listen, you guys want something to eat? Cook the omelets and shit." One time, my guy looked at me. He's like, "Man, is everything okay?" I'm like, "What you mean?" He's like, "Man, your girl had to cook. Like it's 3, 4 in the morning." I'm like, "It's it's hospitality, right? It's the shit I'm used to, right?" So I do realize, and it's how you're how you're brought up. It is not your skin color. It is how you're brought up. And she was brought up in that manner where you you there's a role you play based on your gender. That didn't used to be a crime, bro.
You know, and a lot of those things, I also didn't realize that, you know, in ways like I grew, not all of my ideas come from the constructs I see. Hospitality, I grew up, I didn't realize what it was until, you know, it just became a thing for, like, honestly, when I came across women, and these were young women who just were anti it. Like, for me to, if I was to, like, just say, you know, just even playfully, you gonna yeah, what you gonna cook you gonna cook for me or you know what I mean, whatever. Just it's like I ain't your wife, I ain't your, you know what I mean. It's like I seen the women I seen doing it. If I had friends, I would come, if I was when I was in school, I would call my mom like, "Hey, I got some friends want to come home, you know, with me. Is that cool?" Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just asking just so she know they'll be there. But
Respect.
when we come home, like she cooked dinner for everybody. She already got pallets or whatever laid out for everybody. She cooking breakfast for everybody. I seen the same thing from my grandmother. You know, it was just I didn't realize that was hospitality. I just thought that's what women did, right? So, and so I actually inherited that, even though I know it's not a traditionally feminine trait. But I inherited that thing of like when a person's a guest in my home, I want to do extra to make sure they feel welcomed. You know what I mean?
I would say that is traditional, but we just lost the tradition, right? Because that's how my grandmother was, and everybody's grandmother I knew.
Yeah. Do you think it's traditional? But do you think it's traditionally masculine or feminine?
I mean, it's just traditional hospitality, right? It doesn't you as a man you call home when you bringing somebody home, and your woman, your grandmother, whatever, your grandfather called home, he's bringing his friends over. Your grandmother did what she did, right? I think that was just traditional, and I think if it was the other way around and your grandmother's coming home with her friends, the man would probably get his shit and go to the man cave or whatever he gonna do, right? Let the ladies be the ladies. He might, like straighten up a couple things real quick, right? Because maybe the house was a little messy. She coming home, she giving him a heads up. I'm bringing friends home. It was just a role, bro. I don't think it's masculinity or femininity. It was just traditionally. That's just what the fuck happened. It was respect.
So then I think that's it. Then I just don't think that, you know, I don't think it's rocket science as to, you know, what happened. I think that the science, the problem is that people are acting like they like we playing crazy as a culture. Like we don't see the problem, and then we act offended when somebody else points it out, and it's just like, hey, these are actually conversations that a lot of people have. They're just not willing to come on the online and say it. You know what I mean? Like you know what I found? I found that even a lot of so-called black women will have these conversations offline or in private, even amongst other men, right? They'll acknowledge it. But acknowledging it in public to the world, they won't have it.
So a couple things. One, accountability sucks for a lot of people. Two, if I take responsibility, I can't be a victim. If I say this is my fault, I did this, I no longer get the sympathy of being a victim. And we talked about so-called black culture, how we love to be victims. I've been arguing for 2 days with one of my homies about this shit. Placing blame on shit. Stop placing blame on shit and take responsibility for your part. Who cares what happened to you to make you get to this point? You're here now. We can't undo some shit. Only you can fix it. But I have heard those conversations for some offline. But the problem is we have sex for us is no value, right? I could go out on a Friday night, walk up to a random woman like, "Hey, let me get $20." She's like, "Get the fuck out of here." I can talk same shit to that same woman, take her home and smash, right? $20 has more value than your body. That's where we're at in society, right? Most women ain't gonna give a man they barely know $20, right? And I'm using it as an example,
Yeah.
but a lot of them will give up the body,
Yeah.
right?
That's crazy. But if you
Like,
said that they'll be offended by that.
they won't cook you a steak. They will take you home where their children live without knowing you
Yeah.
let you run wild through them. You don't got to strap up. And I'm generalizing,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but this is how babies are made,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We all, unfortunately, damn near all of us know a chick who had a baby on a one night stand, right?
Yeah.
I would, I bet $1,000 at one that none of them one night stands got breakfast or dinner or no shit like that.
Now they had to be out of there before those kids woke up.
Right. Well, so we've taken the value. There's no value on sex, right? There's no value on a like the value's gone. And for the women who maintain that value, they get no love, right? Dude, I mean, why? Let's be real. It's hard to. There was a phrase. Why pay for the cow if you get the milk for free? Shit like that,
Hmm.
right? Why wait when you got access to 1,000 other women willing to do it today with no recourse, right? We're complaining now about taking women on dates, right? Because they might be getting us for a meal or this, that, or the other. But then you got a bunch of women like, you ain't gotta take me nowhere. Buy me two
I,
drinks and shit. We straight.
yeah, I think that has a lot to do with the the past of those women too. Like it's like why you can't change the standard for me when that hasn't been your standard for the last 5 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand finding your own self value and self worth and deciding that you're not going to just be as loose as you were. You know what I mean? But I don't think that you should expect a man. I don't think most men are going to accept like, oh, you're moving the goalposts for me.
Born again
Yeah,
virgin. Like
right.
I'm celibate. You got 3 kids by
Yeah,
3 dudes. You can't be celibate.
right.
Just
That. I think that has something to do with it. And then on top of that, I think it's just what women expect from men in general. They don't hold men to the standard of being self preservation either. Like I think that why do you go for why do they go for the men who go for everybody? You know what I'm saying? Like that's just like me as a man. Like I don't want what everybody else has already had, and it's okay to hold men to a similar standard. Like I don't think that
but
we have
that's
to
not how we
change.
cut.
Right. But I'm just saying that dynamic, I think that contributes directly to our lack of value for the construct of sex or the union of sex, and even the art of procreation, right? Like we more interested in having the right to abort the mission. If it comes down to it, we don't have any recourse for the concept of procreation. And I think that has been lost right along with traditional femininity. I know it's not solely. I'm glad we're having the conversation under the construct of Black American women, because it's not just women. If not, it's not women of color in general. We're talking about Black American women. There's American women. There's a American female culture as well. Like American women are
Absolutely.
very different, but then there are subcultures. And when we're talking about Black American women, there is a large portion of that has lost or been cheated out of being trained to be healthy wives.
I'm gonna go with being cheated out of, right? Because that's shit you learn. That's a learned
Yeah.
behavior,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like any other behavior, we can preach to do this, but they do what they see, not what you say, right? That's the reality. Anybody with kids know that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right, and it's sad because like sometimes I feel bad. I'm like, man, this motherfuckers out here never really going to experience the true role of a wife. And then I also flip on the flip side. Like I had a discussion with one of my guys today. I said, bro, you don't see value in a woman because you have no idea what the role is for a wife.
Yeah.
So you asking her what she brings to the table because you like, I pay bills, I do this, I do that. I'm like, bro, if you don't like, if you're looking at that from that perspective, it's because you never saw what a wife and a mother truly does when they're one, right? You've had a mom. She, you know what I'm saying? She might have been a wife, but she wasn't your dad's wife. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different shit. So I think it's a lot of people that you're right. We're cheated out of the opportunity to grow and see that true femininity,
Yeah.
right? Because most of
Yeah.
us had friends with moms who was aggressive than a motherfucker,
Yeah. No, for
right?
sure. For
Um,
sure.
some shit is weird to me. Like I had my wife and I may have told the story before. We were watching some kind of shit we were talking about. She said something like, "And dude gonna take a shit over there." And bro, my heart fluttered. I'm like, I ain't never heard my wife use the phrase "take a shit." Right? Like that's not feminine, right? I'm like, I like to me that's not normal shit I
Right.
hear. Right?
Right.
So I'm like, she's like, "Oh no, I'm repeating what I heard with dudes." I'm like, all right, because that was weird to me. You know what I'm saying? And my my relationship is different. I've been with the same woman for a long time, and she was raised that. So a lot of shit, I'm super biased. I'm like, I tell my homies, I tell you, ain't no way in the fucking world I deal with that shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got company, your girl talking shit to you, raising her voice. I'm like, y'all can argue. I'm not saying people don't do that, but you got company, bro. Like the respect, it's harder for me. I'm gonna respect you because I love you as a homie. But if I didn't know you, I would have no respect for you because she don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That lack of, but it's not uncommon. Right? We done all saw our homie or our brother or somebody go through some shit.
Or been that person. You know, I mean, like I've went through it in different ways. I've observed it in different ways, and I mean, no, that's an absolute fact. So now, with you saying that, it does go. I guess if I'm gonna be fair, I said I would. You know, we were only gonna focus on this one, just the one specific demographic. But if I'm gonna be fair to the conversation, I think, one way or another, this also goes back to the lack of leadership by, healthy men as well. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of whether it's things that we tolerate or adopt as the standard, or whether it's just something that the fathers, not being healthy fathers to our daughters, and making sure that we, even if, so for me, even if, you know, me and my daughter's mother, if our relationship isn't necessarily built on love, I recognize that it is our job to simulate a very loving relationship in front of our daughter, to for her to understand. Like, that's first. I think, matter of fact, I think that any child that does not grow up seeing that, their mother and their father have a healthy, loving relationship one way or another, I think you're going to be at a detriment, right? That's just
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
that's my opinion, in terms of relationships. But I think when we talk about, I just recognize that I'm going to be my daughter's very first image of what a man is, and then her mother is going to be her image of who she is supposed to be. You know what I mean? That's and so I just think that we have to attribute this to both genders, one way or another.
100%.
We still got to hold, women accountable, because I've seen women ruin young ladies as well. Like, they're pumping these
100%.
ideas into them, and or they're carrying this energy online that is like, they ain't even realistic. It's like the thing that like, even as far as entertainment, I hear people say this here and there, where they say how someone like Beyonce will promote single womanhood, but yet she's very married, and
100%.
and for all we know, seemingly submissive, right? You know what I mean? We don't know. We're not in their household, but I'm just saying that if you wanna promote energy, but then you subscribe to a different thing, you know what I mean? And this is supposed being cheated on, right? For all we know.
Right, right.
So it's like it's very misleading to the people who you influence. So I'm saying that's why we have to hold, women accountable for the initiative of changing the construct socially. That's my opinion anyway.
So there's this chick, I'm in this Facebook group, it's kind of relationship dating, right? Again, for the podcast purpose. There's this chick, and we go round and round. She's aggressive, she's evil, and I have fun with it. But she posted something the other day. She commented on something, and it changed my whole perspective. To the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna tell this chick, have a nice day from this point forward. So I'm gonna read it. And she said, listen, you are the only one that cares about this family thing. You think only a mom and dad and kids equal family. Family is anyone who a person considers family. Look up the definition. She said, you are so hung up on family and marriage, but you don't really believe in it for whatever reason. She said, she just went on to continue to say, she's like, you don't have to be with somebody or in love with someone to have a baby by them. And I'm like, you are so fucked up. I'm not even mad at you no more.
Mm-hmm.
Like it all makes sense now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's an intelligent woman. She's one of the few six-figure earning women, right, in our culture. But she's damaged, bro. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you're giving me a hard time because I'm saying this is what the traditional family is. And I'm not saying if you don't have the traditional family, shit's all fucked up. I'm saying if you have the opportunity, right, start the fucking family, because her situation is she's got one kid and her current dude has three. And she always tells me, we've been together longer than you and your girl. I'm like, well, how in the fuck y'all got four kids, but neither one of y'all have kids together? Oh, we've been off and on. And I'm like, then y'all ain't been together. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But she's trying, well, you don't have to, just because you were with somebody don't mean you have to have kids. I'm like, I agree with you. I said, but having kids with somebody you're not with is kind of fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have no, so it's just, I think for a lot of people, bro, we're just hurt and
Yeah,
damaged.
yeah. I definitely believe that we're so damaged that we have lost the value for family. Um, and I think that is it right there. Like that is the solution to all of our problems. If we were to agree, because it's all about finding where we agree at collectively and unanimously. That
But
because
let
we
me let me interrupt you. Hold that thought. Let me
right,
ask you something. And this is no disrespect to nobody.
right.
Do you think, because we are more, that's what I'm looking for. We have more stepfathers than any other group from what I've read.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that plays a part? And here's why I ask. Typical American black women, the kid is most important. You, as a stepfather, you can't discipline. You can't. There's certain roles you can't play.
Mm-hmm.
We see that growing up,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do you think that has an impact on men and women, right? Like, do you think that has an, especially on young boys? Like, there's no respect for the man in the house, and I'm not. That's not all. There's always exceptions,
Mm-hmm.
but do you think that plays a part?
Yeah, I don't think that men collectively set a proper standard for stepfatherhood. Um, I don't think that we do it culturally, right? I think that we um, adopt the construct of having blended families as normalized when it should be always be circumstantial. And what I mean is that I think there's a difference between a woman where the let's say the father passed away, right? You know what I mean, something like that, uh, or for whatever reason will never be around again, right? And what I mean by never be around is like literally never be seen or heard from
Life
again.
in prison, whatever.
Right. Like and even
That's a phone call though.
yeah, even no, I'm saying no. If the father is if he's a prison dad, he's a prison dad, right? Like
He
that
still got
that's
access to the house or
yeah.
to the
So I
family.
mean, I don't know that I know now that we passed accepting it, but I'm just saying that you know, ideally, I think that's where being a stepfather. I don't even think it should be a stepfather. Like you know, when you adopt you. I don't think that a woman should have to, and I'm gonna say this, and I may revisit my view later on, but I don't think that a woman should be, I guess, penalized with being single due to you know circumstances beyond her control. And what I mean is, I'm talking
I
about
agree.
like if you know if you pick the wrong dude, that was within your control. But I'm saying like something tragic happened. You know, outside of that, things would have the intention was that y'all would have raised the child together. Now the child doesn't have a father. Okay, so now when this other man comes in, there are no barriers to really, you know, they just gonna, you know, obviously I gotta build a bond. But I mean, there won't be no reason why you would you know, you would have to relinquish that thing about you as a woman that, or as a mother that wants to protect her child, that feels like you know feels like she has to overcompensate and allow this man to be, you know, the father, you know, a father to this, and so I think that really should be the only time that we really encourage having blended families. Outside of that, I don't think that we should be rewarding each other with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think a man should be allowed to start multiple families. You know, I mean that should be the standard by women. If you got, you know, if you got children out here, go be with one of you know, their mothers, and vice versa. If you got a children out here you got a child with a man, like y'all need to figure that shit out. You know what I mean? Because it's only at that point that we are going to start to regain the sense of value for a traditional family unit, and that is important. We will continue to deteriorate unless or until we come to that revelation. Will we? I don't know that I believe that we will, but I'm just saying that that is a viable solution if we were to look at that as a culture.
I don't disagree. I think my mindset has changed over the course of, I'd say, the last 3, 4, 5 months when it comes to single mothers or women with children. Let me rephrase that, right? 'Cause I've always been like, I could never do no shit like that. Widow, right? You know what I'm saying? Some shit like that. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Again, I have no plans on doing this shit. Let me clarify.
Right. I get it.
Right. A widow, I have had a friend, whatever. She was dating a guy. This is years before we met, right before me and the wife knew. Dating a guy, good dude. Excuse me. On track to do something good from a sports perspective. College dude, got a scholarship, tried drugs. That was the end of it. Right? That was it. Life went downhill. I can't blame her for that. Right? She was shit. They were married, they had a baby, and then bro tried some shit. And that was it for him. Took him 25 years to get himself right. Yeah, I can't hold that against you. But 3, 4 baby daddies, just for the fuck of it, never having a ring. I'm gonna hold that against you.
Yeah,
And the same thing on the flip side, right? We
yeah.
got to be realistic.
Yeah, very different. That's a very different. A very different thing. But we like to look at single motherhood as monolithic, right? Or single parenthood rather. We it's not monolithic, and I don't think we should treat it like such. I think that, like you said, and what I alluded to, something that's tragic that none of us could have seen coming. Okay, but that doesn't. But when you do that over and over again, it's like or you set the stand like
Yeah,
right.
it ain't
Even
tragic.
with my son who was a new father, right? I'm literally having to stop our village in their tracks when they say, hey, but it's okay because it's like, nah, it's not okay. This is a problem. Like, it's not okay. And you see what I'm saying? Like, we've adopted this,
Our standards are low.
like, no, you don't, do we realize, like, we just want to think that all our children are okay because they don't experience poverty the same way that we did, right? We experienced poverty economically, but in a lot of ways we were very rich. We were rich in love, right? You know what I mean? Or being raised on that premise. But now our children they're very poor morally because
Right.
they're entitled. They weren't raised with structure and discipline. They weren't raised with
We gave them
value.
too much.
Yeah,
We gave them too much.
We gave them too much without
We
requiring anything.
we were the generation that got access to a lot more than the previous generation. So we were like, you
Yeah.
know what? My kids are gonna have all the shit they did, that I didn't get an opportunity to do. Which, and I mean, it's the right thing to do, but we didn't bring the structure with it.
Right, we didn't, and not only that, then also the times in terms of technology and everything. The world is very it spoiled them as well. You know what I'm saying? Like
A 100%.
they came right on in the middle of the technology boom, so it's very easy, very convenient. You know what I mean? Like it's just so it's like and it's really unfortunate for them. And it's very unfortunate for the world in a lot of ways because I think that the world it looks very different now, but it's going to look really different in years to come.
Hey, so I'm gonna talk a little shit real quick. I would joke with my white friend, like, hey, bro, if you find a tape of your grandmother after she passed, don't put that shit in front of the family, right? These old white ladies, bro, I done seen some shit in my life, right? Them tapes might not, you might find out, granny.
Oh, that's what I'm talking
You
about.
might find out, but that's not, now you don't have this on the internet, right? So, prime example.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna start burning motherfuckers up publicly, right? But this chick, and I'm gonna give her credit, her body's stupid, right? She's in her mid 30s. I mean, she's a thicker girl, but big, she's curvaceous. Everything is exaggerated, but it's natural. From the lips to the hips. But she posted some shit on Facebook, and it's not abnormal. Everything's about her physique. Right? And I'm not talking like a gym chick. She's sexy, just natural.
Right.
I'm like, you have a kid, a son in college. You have 1 or 2 sons in high school. These motherfuckers is catching hell at school because this is public. Right? Like, this is the worst time to have a hot mom, bro. And your mom is throwing it out there.
That's
Like, bro, when I
crazy.
was a little dude, I had a homie. His mama was the shit, right? She was bad as hell. Like, we used to love spending the night over there, right? Because, like, man, his mom's walking around her nightgown. But she, she wasn't doing no fuck shit. But I'm like, man, right now, you could look at, like, these kids can look, and I'm talking young boys, I'm not talking little kids, I'm talking 16, 17, high school kids, right? Because we know as high school boys, sex is serious shit. We are into
Yeah,
women.
yeah.
I'm like, you are giving these young boys shit to to stress your fucking kids out with.
That's crazy. Like
I'm,
I said that a while ago. I'm like, man, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine having to deal with the pressure of seeing my mother on the internet in a sexually provocative way. My mother, my grandfather, and my sisters. Like
bro,
I
we
couldn't
got in
imagine
fights
that.
because somebody said Joe Mama and didn't even finish the sentence.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I couldn't. This is crazy to even like, man. And here's the thing. I don't think that the majority of these women actually realize what they are doing.
See,
Like
go ahead and explain yourself because I think different.
I don't think they understand what the long term ramifications of this is. I think that they don't care. I think they you can tell them like, man, this is down the line. They don't think it matters. They don't understand how it matters even to them. They don't think that they're going to change. They don't even understand that you're going to have to watch yourself change over years as you keep doing this, right? You're going to see the first picture you posted, and then it's going to get to a point like what I'm saying. I don't think Nicki Minaj ever realized that it was not what she's doing is not going to look the same over a period of time. She thought she was forever going to be 26, 27, 28. So now it's no way around it. I don't care what women like. If you sell just sex, like that is going to phase itself out no matter what. That is literally when it's not the same. I don't care. There's no such thing as like women being more sexually attractive at in their later part of their lives than they are in their early part of their lives.
I'm gonna bring this up. Well, go ahead, keep going. I'm gonna grab this picture and bring it in.
Yeah, I'm just saying that like women lie to themselves about it every day, right? But you know, it is very different. Like men actually generally tend to look better if they take care of themselves as they age. Like if we talking about from a vain aspect, women generally don't, right? It becomes their energy that takes, for the forefront of it. With men, it's the exact opposite. Like when you're younger, it's all the things you could do, right? That makes you attractive. Like as a young, physically fit man. Older is just then you just become you begin to look more astute. You know what I'm saying, and look more mature, and that's more attractive physically for as far as women are concerned. It's the exact opposite with men. What I mean? With men versus with women. Like, generally when it's just a sexual thing, like that's what men see. So if you fall victim to that as a woman over time, if that's all you have, it's going to deteriorate. It's going to be about what other qualities do you actually, bring as a woman.
100%. And they don't. A lot of them don't have much. I'm just gonna bring this picture up for just a second. Let me see if I can get this shit in here real quick. Let me see. And the reason I'm bringing this picture in, and I cropped her face out, and any identifying marks. I don't give a fuck who can see, who know her. Let me throw this up. This is and let me know when you can see it. With high school, right, kids and shit, and college, like, do you not think motherfuckers is finna be like, man, your mama could get it? You know what I'm saying? Like this shit is, and this is public, bro. I'm not even friends with her on this fucking profile. Like, this is crazy to me, right? And it's like, imagine, like, do you not realize what young men are saying to your sons? Like, your sons have to be on defense. Even your daughters, to be real, right? Let them a
Yeah.
little young motherfucker try to holler at your little 16-year-old daughter. She says some dumb shit like, your mama look better anyway, with her titties out, her ass out. Right?
Yeah.
That's just
I,
one picture.
that's the part where I'm saying I don't know that they really truly understand. Maybe they don't give a fuck, but I'm saying that they couldn't understand. Like if you understood what this really meant, and you still doing it. I mean, I don't think so. I can't say that I know. I'm not a woman. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that
Right, right,
I
right.
don't understand like how, like, yeah, it
I
makes no
mean,
sense to me.
the question I always want to ask, there's like 3 or 4 chicks that I know. I shouldn't say I know like that, right? And I get mad at a couple motherfuckers. I'm like, bro, everywhere there's a hole, you under her picture with likes. That shit drives me crazy, especially because both these cats that I'm thinking about have girls. I'm like, y'all kind of disrespectful to the chick y'all with. I ain't even saying don't look at the shit, but like if it's a hoe on the internet with her ass out, you in the likes, bro. Like these 2 cats always in the likes, but you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like it's weird, but
Those niggas, that's what I'm saying. Those type of niggas contribute directly to
oh, they feed
the
it.
problem that we have. Like, I mean, it's like, I think it's the corniest shit. Like, I just really think that like if those type of niggas to me, you will ruin everything over some pussy.
You know, and I've commented on this particular woman's shit. She's like, oh, I can't find a decent man, this, that, the other. It's 37 motherfuckers commenting below. I said, listen, you got 35 people up here talking about they want to take you on a date, and you talking about you can't find nobody. Stop bullshit. Well, I'm waiting on a certain person. Then tag that motherfucker. Like, quit bullshit.
But guess what? When you wait on a certain person, he not waiting on you because of
He's
what you
not into
doing.
that.
Yeah, I mean,
And
like,
that's the part. You know, I always wanted to ask, and I'm gonna ask somebody in the next 7 days. How many sexual pictures does it take before you get the man you want? Because I think that the answer is 10 billion. Because none of you motherfuckers ever end up with him,
no,
right? Because that's not the type of man you want. Doesn't want that. Imagine, and don't get me wrong, bro. The chick I posted a picture of, she's an attractive one, right? But who, who wants that when every other man has had sexual visuals of your woman? And I don't mean like fantasizing. Like she put this shit out there.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's crazy to me, bro. And then they
yeah.
be like, well, I don't know all these dudes in my inbox because we can see your nipples in the
That's
picture where your titties at.
that's delusion. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And I don't think that this lady, going back to this German lady, I don't think that she said anything that people are not aware of. I don't
She
think
spoke the
that.
truth.
So I'm saying that like the conversation is whether she did it for likes or not, it's like the conversation is the conversation. Is there where is the lie at? Like okay, the only thing I can hear someone saying that I would agree with is that this doesn't represent every black woman. Yeah,
It
hundred
doesn't
percent
represent every
correct,
German
right?
woman either.
Right. So I mean that's irrelevant, but
But it's the truth.
is there truth there? And it absolutely is. You know what I mean? So we should be talking about the why. I think the why has everything to do with the breakdown of the traditional family unit. That's what I believe. I
I
believe
think
that. Go ahead.
no, I agree with you, and I know we gotta keep it short today because I'm under the weather, and whatnot. But I agree. The traditional family has broken down, and we've lost the reason for the family. Now what I'm hearing is if I make this much money, a woman's supposed to do this, this, and this. Like that shit is not what it's about, bro. I remember when
No.
and granted, I started dating my girl a long ass time ago. When my check was $4.05 an hour, 60 hours a week for $162, she was exactly the same chick, right? Much smaller house to clean, much less nice fucking food to eat, right? But the shit was the same. Um, you, it's we don't know the value as men of a good, right? We don't know the amount of shit a woman goes through to make sure we feel good. And if you don't know that, because you never had it and you never saw it, motherfuckers start putting stipulations on what it takes to be with them, and then get mad when a woman does the same shit.
Okay. So maybe that's part of it too. Then maybe part of it is part of that conversation is that because I do believe behavior is directly tied to motivation, and maybe women aren't as motivated anymore to be feminine based on the roles that we plan as men or lack thereof rather, right? Like maybe because we think that hey, as long as we assume that hey, as long as we are doing our due diligence financially, that then we deserve the energy of the total submission of women. When the reality is much more than that, and I know that too. I know it's much more
100%.
than just being because provision extends way beyond economics. So I'm not going to absolve us of any of accountability collectively, but what I'm saying is that it doesn't change the fact that because there are men out there that provide in totality. So you have to set yourself up as a woman to be able to qualify for those men, and it cannot
100%.
be based totally on economics. I'm not saying you accept mediocre economics in exchange for all the other tangibles that come with it. I'm saying that you have to have a level of self-respect and self-preservation and training to be able to qualify for that, because it is an energy that a man of that caliber, of the caliber that you're looking at or looking for rather, is going to be able to pick up on easy. You cannot fake it. You
You know,
can't. Go ahead.
I think a man, depending on who the woman is, wants to do better. I don't give a fuck how good he's doing. Right? You have the right woman behind you. Like, man, I want to give her the fucking world, so I got to do more. I got to do better. I got to do this, that, and the other. And
Right.
but when you don't have that, you don't have it. Anyway, bro, I like I said, I wanted to just keep it short today because I'm under the weather. But
Run it.
we should continue this one Sunday. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Let's roll with this whole topic. We'll get everything going again.
Okay.
I
100.
appreciate you, fam.
No doubt. 100.